What's good, Cubers? It's your boy Matt, and I'm back today, and I thought we'd do a little shopping. You know, rotation is on the way, and it's a great time to be a Cuber because maybe you can pick up some of those cards you missed the first time around. Let's get started. Before we get too deep into this, I do want to say I'm showing you a lot of cards that were expensive and have dropped down, and some of them are Cube staples, whereas others are just cool Cube cards you might not have tested the first time. Also, I don't claim to be an expert in MTG finance, so yeah, the advice is worth exactly what you're paying for it. That said, let's get started. So first up we've got White, and White's got a couple of cards for us, Legion's Landing and Settle the Wreckage. So we're going to start with the Landing. The Landing is a decent 1-drop, gives you a 1/1 vampire and flips into the legendary land and makes tokens, and it used to be $8.99. $9 for a 1-drop, wow. I'm not going to pretend it's the most powerful 1-drop, but I do like it in my cube as super early token support with potentially some late game value. The good news is this card has dropped a lot, and I'm betting after rotation it just becomes bulk. Right now the card's at $2, and $2 for Legion's Landing feels okay. Again, after rotation, this card doesn't see play in any other formats. It's going to be really cheap. Next up is Settle the Wreckage. Settle the Wreckage was a key card in Standard for a while, and it sees play in Modern, which is probably why its initial price tag was like $17. That's a lot of money for a board wipe. The good news is it's creeping down to almost bulk status. It still does see some play in Modern, but it's only $1.94. So if you're looking for an extra board wipe in your White section, Settle the Wreckage is going to be a great choice. But let's keep going because White's got a couple more options for us. Option number 1 is History of Benalia. I love this card. Okay, it's not like the most powerful thing you could be doing in your cube, but still, it's great for tokens, it's great in the aggro deck, and I love a card that can switch hit. Now, History of Benalia was a Standard staple for a little while, and so you might have missed it because it was $26 a pop. Well, the mighty have fallen a lot, boys and girls. History of Benalia is $2.25, and again, it doesn't see play in any other formats. This card's going to be really affordable, and it's one you should think about trying out in your cube. I really like it. The next White card you might think about picking up or trying out is Lyra Dawnbringer. Now, she's very similar to Baneslayer Angel. They have a lot in common. They're mostly keywords. They both flunk the Vindicate test. I think you can play either or both depending on the size of your cube. If you don't want to play Baneslayer, you can play Lyra in her spot, and it's perfectly serviceable. Yeah, Lyra Dawnbringer. This was a good card. It was also a really expensive card. This card was $36.96 at its peak. Wow. Oh my gosh. Anyway, the good news for us is that this card isn't seeing play in other formats, and its price has already dropped all the way down to $6.48, and I have a feeling it's going to go lower. She does see a little bit of play in Modern, but still, when Standard is over, this card is going to get cheaper. I really feel like you wait till after rotation, you pick this card up for a few dollars, despite it seeing some play in Modern. But let's keep going. Let's move to Blue. Blue actually has a few interesting cards for Cube. Chart a Course if you missed it the first time around, and Search for Azcanta. Now again, I'm not saying you have to play these cards. Chart a Course is good and I enjoy it in my cube, but there are definitely better blue cantrips. But I bring this card up because I really have enjoyed it. Now, it was not super expensive because it is an uncommon, but it was expensive for an uncommon. It was $3.24. And Chart a Course has hit bulk status. It's now a 45-cent uncommon. So if you haven't play tested it, it's definitely worth playing. In a tempo deck, it almost always draws 2. In a control deck, you can discard something to the graveyard and then reanimate it if you're in Dimir, or discard something with flashback if you're in Azurius or Izzet, so that you can take advantage and the discard doesn't hurt that much. The card we probably need to be talking about though is Search for Azcanta. Search for Azcanta saw a ton of play in Standard, and as a result, the price is ridiculous. It was $22.63. Now, this card does see play in other formats. It's a little slow for Cube, especially in like high-power aggressive cubes, because it takes some time to set up and flip it, and then you need the dig, and it's entirely possible that you're dead to an aggressive deck or a combo deck by that time. But if you're in a mid to upper mid power cube, you can get away with playing Search for Azcanta, and the flip effect is a lot of fun, and you feel great when you're digging down through your deck. The good news is this card has dropped dramatically in price. It's now only $8.04. Again, it does see some play in Modern, but I do think its price will probably tick down even more. Both of these cards are definitely worth playtesting in Cube if you missed them the first time around. The last blue card I want to bring to your attention is actually from M19. It's Tezzeret the Artifice Master. This is a great 5-drop, and I like it because this Tezzeret doesn't require you to have an artifact deck in your cube. The 0 ability is just fine even if you don't have 3 or more artifacts. Like, you know, just zeroing him to draw 1. Every control deck, every Dirtily deck wants to do that. Making the Thopters is a nice upside. The downside, when this card came out, is that it was $25. That's a lot of money for a solid 5-drop that could be replaced anytime. The good news is that his price has dropped dramatically. He's not seeing much play in Standard anymore, he doesn't really see play in other formats, and so Tezzeret has dropped all the way down to $5.68, and since he doesn't see play in other formats, he'll probably hit the $3 range or so. Most Planeswalkers stop about there, but eventually he'll tick down to that mark as well, so very cubable, definitely worth picking up. You're not going to be mad about it if you include it in your cube. Promise. Alright, take your boy Matt's word for it. Promise. It's going to be pretty good in your cube. Let's move on to black. I don't have a lot of black choices right now. There aren't a lot of black staples that are rotating out that are or were super expensive. There is one card I do want to bring up, and that's Vraska's Contempt. This is a really nice removal spell and at instant speed. When you're in the aggro deck and your opponent removes your Rabble Master with this and gains 2 life during your instep, you're gonna feel like crap. You are. Now there is a whole lot of removal in black, so maybe it's not right for your cube, but again, if you're in that mid to upper mid, maybe even a higher powered cube that's larger, you can certainly play Vraska's Contempt. The problem is the card used to be $20. Well, guess what, boys and girls? It's down to $1.86. So this card is definitely worth picking up if you're playing any kind of subpar removal in your cube. Level up, try out Vraska's Contempt. Card's pretty good. You're gonna be pleased. You're gonna be pleased. Let's move on to red. Things in red have been pretty good the last few sets. We've gotten a lot of pieces. My favorite of which is Rampaging Ferocidon, which you know if you've watched this channel at all, I'm a big fan. Ferocidon got banned almost immediately after entering Standard because of all the shenanigans that Hazoret had going on. So the card never really got expensive, but I did want to bring it up. The most expensive it got was $6.49, so chances are you're already playing with it. It did just get legalized again, so cards at $1.53, when rotation happens, it's going to be bulk again. This card was 45 cents just a few weeks ago. Like, this card's going to be bulk, and it's definitely worth picking out and letting it rampage through your cube. Now, Direfleet Daredevil is a card that I'm not super high on, but I know a lot of other cubers have really liked it, so I am going to put it in the list. Daredevil was a staple card in a lot of aggro decks and definitely in their sideboards, and as a result, it had ticked all the way up to $10.23. The good news is that it doesn't see play in any other format. With rotation coming, it's already dropped down to $2.46, and it's going to hit bulk once rotation happens. Like, this card is not seeing play anywhere else. There's no Pirate Commander decks running around. Like, it's fine. Wait till after rotation. Pick this up for a nickel. It's going to be fantastic. That being said, try it out in your cube. Give it a whirl. Let me know what you think of it. Maybe you've played it and you think it's better than I do. Give it a whirl. The card I really want to talk about, because I have to admit I missed it when it came around and then I just decided it was too expensive to pick up, that's Rekindling Phoenix. Rekindling Phoenix is really interesting for me. I want to try it out in my red 4 slot. I want to see how my mid-range decks like it. I want to see how my aggro decks like it as a curve topper. It's going to be really hard to remove. The problem was it was really hard to buy. This card was $40 at one time. Like, every red deck played it in the board or in the main. Golly. Now, this card did get a reprint when they were reprinting all those Challenger decks, and it's not really seeing play in the format anymore, and so it has dropped all the way down to $3.42, and this card doesn't see play in other formats, so you know what that means. Rekindling Phoenix is going to be dirt cheap in just a few weeks, so if you're interested in picking it up and you missed it the first time, now's your moment. But let's press on to green and talk about the card that everybody needs to be scooping up, and that is Carnage Tyrant. Yeah, if you're not playing with this in your cube, I can understand why, because the card was $35. That's a lot of money, but that's a big dinosaur. The thing about Carnage Tyrant is you need to pick one up. This card is becoming a cube staple. It might be the best 6-drop. It's so good. It's so good. It just ends games, and the control decks don't know what to do with it. They just have to pray for a board wipe. Carnage Tyrant does see play in modern sideboards and even a little bit in Legacy, so while this card has ticked down a ton to 716, this guy's not going to hit bulk status. He's just not going to. He's such a good card. Even Commander decks play this guy. He's just, Carnage Tyrant. So go ahead and pick yours up while they're cheap. You know, they're going to get cheaper after rotation, and then like you need to snag all you're going to want, because after that, I think this card actually only ticks up because it's going to see play in other formats. Let's talk about Jade Light Ranger. Jade Light Ranger is not a super busted cube card, but Explore is a super underrated mechanic though, and the Jade Light Ranger is a solid 3-drop, especially if you've got room for her. Now, back when the Wild Growth Walker, Jade Light, Merfolk, Branch Walker engine was king, Jade Light Ranger was $16.70. Then it got reprinted in that Challenger deck, and now it's down to $1.38, and this card is going to hit bulk status after rotation. So I would just wait, scoop them all up then, all you can stand. Like I said, it's not super powerful, but it's also underrated, and it's worth playtesting, especially when you're about to be able to pick this card up for under $1. The M19 card I want to talk about is Goreclaw. I love this card so much. Like, kick rocks, Oracle of Moldiah. I like this guy. He's got a fine body in a mid-range deck, and he's dumb in the ramp deck because you can cast him early and hit the top end of your curve way faster. Yeah, I like me some Goreclaw. The card has never really been expensive. It was $4.83, but I love me some Mama Bear, so I just wanted to tell you about it. Card's down to $1.75. It's going to be even cheaper after rotation. Yep, Goreclaw. Pick you one up. You're welcome. This card is a lot of fun and really good in the green 4 slot. But let's keep going, boys and girls. We're not done yet. We got to get to colorless, and there are actually some colorless cards that are really worth taking a look at. Treasure Map is super underrated, and especially if you're not running all the talismans and all the signets. And yeah, Treasure Map is actually pretty good in a red aggro deck if you need it as a sideboard card to smooth out your draws, but it's also great in your top end decks as well. Control decks love to scry and then flip it, eat the treasures, and draw the cards. Treasure Map used to be $9.53, and now it's all the way down to $2.50. I think it'll go a little lower than that, but not too much. Yeah, it's just a good card. It's going to see play in other formats. I guess the card we're really here to talk about, though, in the colorless section is Karn, Scion of Urza, that used to be nearly $70, which is insane. The good news is it's not anymore. This is a great colorless 4-mana walker, and you should be playing one inside your cube somewhere. He's a good card draw engine. Yep, Karn, love him. And he's down to $10. He's going to get a little cheaper, but I don't know how much more cheaper. He's a colorless card draw engine, which means Commander players are always going to be able to find a space for him. He dabbled around in Modern for a little bit, so that doesn't mean he can't do it again. If you want your Karns, go ahead and snatch them up after rotation. I don't think they're going to be much cheaper than they are after rotation, and then they might even start ticking back up again. The last colorless card we really need to talk about is Crucible of Worlds. Now this card is a reprint. I want to point that out. This card is a reprint, which means when M19 came out, it was as cheap as it was ever going to be, right? Wrong. When M19 came out, this card was $47. When I bought mine, it had ticked all the way down to $14. But here's the thing. Look where its price is now. It's $23? This card is starting to tick up. And what that means is that everyone who wanted to open M19 packs has done it, which means the extra copies of Crucible of World are starting to disappear, and this card sees play in Commander, in Modern, and Legacy. So if you want your Crucible of Worlds, I recommend just buying it right now. Just buy it right now. Crucible of Worlds doesn't see play in Standard. This card's not going to get cheaper. If you're looking for a copy of Crucible because you want it to go with your new Renin 6 Fun Stuff toy deck, you need to just go ahead and buy it right now. That's going to do it for colorless, and now we're going to move on to multicolored cards. We actually got a few really solid multicolored cards in these sets, and these are a couple of my favorites. Hostage Taker is so much fun. This might be the best Dimir card. Like, I'm willing to stand by it and make that argument. When you snatch your opponent's stuff and then recast it, it just feels so good. Hostage Taker used to be $18, so I get if you passed on it when it came out. What I don't understand is if you're not playing it yet, because the card's down to $3 and it's so good. I'm telling you, this is Matt talking, you need a copy of Hostage Taker. Another card that's seen play in a lot of Golgari sections lately is Vraska the Relic Seeker. She's really nice. The pirates with Menace are great upside, and she can hide behind them until they eventually all just turn sideways and kill your opponent. I love minusing to kill an artifact, creature, or enchantment. The treasure token is nice, but it's the flexibility of getting artifact, creature, or enchantment. Actually, new Garrick in Eldraine looks like maybe he's going to be competing for her spot, so keep an eye on that. I'm actually thinking about just playing both. And then the -10, obviously, if you get there, which isn't actually that hard in like a slower Golgari grindy deck. Putting your opponent at 1, fantastic. Card used to be $27. $27. It saw play in that Wild Growth Walker Jadelight Ranger deck, but that deck has fallen out of favor, and so has this card. It's all the way down to $1.90. So definitely pick up a copy of this and try it out in your Golgari section. I'm super happy with it, and maybe play it and Garrick when Eldraine rolls around. Let's move on to our last couple of cards, and if you've been waiting for them, here we are. Let's talk about Papa Teferi. Dang, Papa Teferi is good. This guy is the Azurius staple you need to pick up that you probably passed on because the card was $55. $55. I know I waited on it. I was like, oh, I'll trade for a Teferi after it comes out, and then I was like, dang, I can't spend that much money on a card. That's too much money for a standard card. The price of this card has gone down a lot. It's cut in half. It's at $23. Here's the thing. It sees Modern and Legacy play, so it'll get a little bit cheaper after rotation because people are still playing it in Standard, but I don't think this card is going to be hitting bulk status anytime soon. I think about a week after rotation, that's when you try and scoop up your copies. There'll be a ton of them on the market, price will drop way down, yeah. I got this last card on the list, Nicol Bolas, not because I think he's the best Bolas, I don't, but I do play him in my cube because I like the castability of him. I like being able to cast him for 4. So if you're interested in this Nicol Bolas, it's probably going to be time to pick him up soon. He was $40. The Grixis deck saw a lot of play in Standard for a little while. He's down to $11.51. He doesn't see play in any other format, so he's going to get a little bit cheaper. I figure he goes down to like 6 or 5 before it's all said and done. I mean, Nicol Bolas only get so cheap just because of their pet cards and people love Grixis and so on. So if you're looking for another Elder Dragon to add to your cube, or you're looking for another or a different Nicol Bolas to play in the place or with the one you got, you're always welcome to try out the Ravager. He's a little slow because you have to invest and then flip, but he is super castable on the front. Well, that's going to do it for today, Cubers. Hope you enjoyed the shopping trip. I hope I gave you some ideas for some cards to try out that maybe you haven't, or you found out that card you wanted and passed on was way cheaper than you thought it was. So, yeah, hope it was good for you. It was definitely good for me. Follow us on the Twitter at cubefortwo. Hit the like and subscribe button, ring the bell, do all the things. And as always, and until next time, shuffle up and keep cubing, my friends.